My camera just froze. That was weird. Hi guys! So this is like my first YouTube video, so bear with me. I decided to do a video on like the process of getting into the Air Force because I watched a lot of videos, but they were like only so helpful. It's just gonna be a short one of just the initial process. One thing that I would say to anyone is seriously think about this before you do it. I thought about it for a really long time, and I got there and was still like super nervous, and even talking to the recruiter was kind of like, is this something I really want to do? Which it is. They almost like talk you out of it, even though they're not trying to. But yeah, no, really wasn't that bad of a process. Again, I was extremely nervous. The first time I went over there, I thought you could just walk in. You can't. You might want to check that out. I had to email him, and then he called me, and we did an interview over the phone, and they ask you like really kind of personal questions. So make sure you're not around anybody because I was in an airport, and it was a little awkward answering some of the questions. Um, Especially like my mom was sitting right next to me too, which I mean, it's my mom. She knows a lot about me, but it was still just kind of awkward. So make sure you like set time out for that, and then you have to set up an appointment. Which mine was like 2 weeks I think after because I was out of town, and they're pretty busy, especially because we only have one main recruitment office here in Colorado. But so I went over. I was a little early. Um, you don't have to be super early. Like he wasn't even there yet, so it doesn't look good. It just makes you wait longer. I went in. I got lucky because there was another kid there who's already enlisted. He's just waiting to get sent to basic, so he had to like do his like weigh-in and stuff like that. And then the other recruiter who's there is new, so he's like learning. So mine was like really laid back, like he was asking a lot of questions, so I got to like get more out of it, and they were kind of joking around with me, which is really helped lighten the mood. So you get there, and the first thing I did was I had to do my height and weight, which I was kind of worried about because I'm a girl. I worry about stuff like that, which I was fine. I was totally under, and I like haven't even like really like I run and stuff every day, but I haven't really started my workout plan for before I go to basic. So I was like, I'll probably end up dropping more weight, and he's like, try not to drop like too much. Um, but you can get the charts online. They weren't actually accurate, the ones I got online. Like, I could weigh more than they told me I could. I mean, I didn't, but I could. So just look at that. And then they make you take a practice ASVAB if you haven't taken your ASVAB before. And it was a lot easier than I thought. Like, I thought I did really bad on it while I'm taking it because I've never taken one before. And I actually scored, like, really well. And he's like, I'll probably score better on the actual one. I did buy a book, and he said that was good to do. I bought the ASVAB for Dummies book, which is actually really helpful because it's just like a lot of the English portion, and I don't know much about like mechanics and stuff like that, so it's just kind of like a brush up course. And he's like, a lot of it is about like how well I can like learn and stuff. So I bought that, and he's like, that's good. And then you go back, and he like asks you a lot of questions about like why you want to join. Make sure you think about that too before you go, like what you're gonna answer to these questions, because if not, that would have been a little more difficult. He like told me what job openings were available, like kind of what I wanted to do. He asked what my hobbies and stuff were, and that like helped him like help me to see kind of what jobs I really wanted and like what my long-term goal was and how long I wanted to be in. And you get your choice of a contract too. I think it's like 3, 4, and 6 years. I'm deciding to sign the 6-year contract just because I plan on being in the Air Force for a long time. So I might as well. Plus, it gets my rankings up a lot quicker. It takes a lot less time to get to a higher rank. And I haven't been that long anyways. I might as well. But another thing he did tell me is like I swim a lot, and there's a job like that is specifically, it's like SERE or like the SEER, which I mean I'd consider. It's not something I really want to do, but I mean some of your hobbies do play into stuff like that. The other recruiter who was there too was like really nice and funny, and like we talked about golf, so it really is not as stressful as you think. So try not to be super over nervous. He just like asked me some more questions about like my medical history and like my paperwork and stuff, and you really do need to make sure you have all your paperwork. Not everyone has all the paperwork. Like I didn't have my college transcripts because they're actually kind of hard to get and they take a long time to come in the mail. So that's the only thing I didn't have. My medical history was a little hard to get because I didn't really have any, and my doctor was really confused about that. But like have it all, especially the form. They send you a form online that you have to fill out. Like that's like the biggest deal. I like had it all filled out, and I still had to like fix stuff, just because of the way they want stuff done. Um, and on criminal records, speeding tickets count. They go on there. I didn't know that, so I had to guess on those, which they don't care if you got a speeding ticket. Like, write it down. It's not that big a deal. I had like 3 violations after I wrote it down. I mean, they weren't all speeding tickets, but they were like stupid stuff like that. So just write them down. It's really not that big a deal. Um, it's just so like if it's not on there and they go back and look at it, like you can kind of get in a little bit of trouble. So make sure that's done. And then we talked a lot about like when you want to leave and like what you want to do and where you want to be stationed. And I mean, it's just the opening process of stuff. Medical information, do not lie on anything. That is like the biggest thing. Um, it's one thing if you forget it, but like I had asthma as a child, so I was like super, super scared. I was like, I'm just not gonna bring it. I've never used an inhaler a day in my life. I just got like bronchitis really bad as a child, and they gave me like they said I had asthma because it like messed up my lungs, but my lungs ended up being fine. I played sports in high school. I even told him that, and he's like, I don't have to put it on there. It's not that big a deal. It wasn't in my medical history, but he did tell me when I go to MEPS, if I did not put it on the form, to just don't mention it. Just don't say anything because I can disqualify myself, which would really suck. Like, so I like even stupid stuff. Like I broke my finger and it's a finger, so I didn't get it fixed. I just like let it heal by its own. He's like, don't mention it. He's like, just don't bring it up. Um, and then right then and there, he like set up for my ASAB and my MEPS, which I'm doing like I don't know what it's called. It's like the day thing. So like I go at like 10:30 that morning and meet with him, my recruiter. He's really cool. I meet with him and talk about like how to pass my physical and stuff like that. And then I go over and I take my ASVAB, which he's like when you pass it, so I'm not too worried about failing that. So I do that, and then that night in Colorado, you check into the Sheridan Hotel, which I think is downtown. I don't know, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's downtown. I check in there, and then I have to wake up early the next morning and like do my MEPS and swearing and stuff, and then I leave in like 6 to 8 months or something like that, which I'm fine with. Like, especially Air Force. Like, if you're going to the Air Force, a lot of you already know you have to go to Lackland for 8.5 weeks. Well, Lackland in the summertime sucks. It's really hot, so I don't want to go this early anyways. So, I don't know. One thing I found out, just some like advice for if you're deciding on whether or not to join the Air Force. Talk to people. If you like anyone, my dad was Air Force, so I like had. I mean, he was a lot long ago, so but I had like some perspective on it. I'm from a military family too, so that helped. I got lucky and I was on a plane back from Tennessee, and the girl I was sitting next to is like going on 6 years now in the Air Force. So I asked her a bunch of questions, and I have a friend who's currently in the Marines, but he's stationed on an Air Force base down in Texas, and he gave me a lot of answers about like stuff, and just ask as many questions. Like there really is no such thing as a dumb question, especially to your recruiter. Um, Another thing too is like if you're planning on going to like just keep in mind that drugs and alcohol aren't really a thing in the Air Force, so don't do them. If you do, stop doing them. They drug test you frequently. Don't do it. It's not worth it. I mean, you're gonna have your life for it. Um, I'm like now I'm gonna like tell you like my worries about boot camp. I'm a little scared because I spent the last 2 years at CU Boulder. So yeah, Boulder. Um, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of a party school. and I was in a sorority, so I'm even more scared. Obviously, I'm not going to tell people that because that is asking me to get harassed during boot camp because they're going to be like, oh, this prissy little sorority girl, like, obviously she, like, shouldn't be here and blah, blah, blah. So I'm really worried about that. I'm scared of failing out of boot camp, which everyone's like, you won't fail out of boot camp. Like, you won't. It just won't happen. You won't do it. But I'm, like, scared to fail out of boot camp. Um, my recruiter also gave me, like, physical training plans to do up until boot camp, um, because a lot of people, not just girls, but a lot of people go into boot camp, like, without any, like, the physical training, like, you don't necessarily need. I mean, you're not going to be as physically fit as they're going to make you do. You're not, like, everyone says, like, you could do all the physical fitness in the world and you're still going to kind of die a little bit. But, like, simple stuff, running, sit-ups, push-ups, like, you can prepare yourself for that, and just preparing yourself for that will make everything a little bit easier, I'm thinking. So, but I'm worried about the physical fitness, especially because I can't do a pull-up. And it's not because I'm not physically fit or anything. I am. I can run. I can do push-ups. I can do sit-ups. I've never been able to do a pull-up a day in my life. I just don't have that kind of body strength in my arms. I don't. And I'm, like, nervous about that. And my recruiter kind of laughed at me, and he's like, you'll be fine. Don't worry. So that's that. What else am I don't know. Like, I'm, like, a very independent person, so I'm super excited to get away from my parents. My mom cries a lot. A lot. So I, like, kind of feel bad, but I'm the baby of the family too, so she's, like, scared about that, but I think she'll be fine. She did it with my dad, so it also helps too, my cousins going into the Coast Guard, so we're kind of going through this together. Um, Only the Air Force is a little bit more lenient about tattoos than the Coast Guard is, because he has to get his removed to join, and the Air Force didn't care at all about mine, so um, but that's that. I don't know. It should be fun. I'll make another video before I leave for boot camp for my packing list. And then after I get back from basic on what I thought of basic. So, yep.